Today is October the 4th, 1995, and we're interviewing Mrs. Viola Underhill Pierson and Peter Russell Pierson in their home at 207 2nd Street in Pierson, Florida. 2nd Avenue, excuse me. And how old are you, Mrs. Pierson?
85.
85. And how about you?
79.
79. Where were you born?
Where was I born?
Where were you born?
Probably Barberville.
Barberville, uh-huh. And you were born?
In Pierson.
In Pierson. And what was your parents' names?
Well, they called him W.R. Underhill, but he was William R. Underhill.
Uh-huh.
He had a store there in 1903 until he retired.
What kind of store?
Or a general store, sold
General
everything from
Uh-huh.
nails to
Uh-huh. So you saw lots of people in and out all over the
Everything.
years. Uh-huh. And your parents' name?
Eugene and Ursula Pierson.
And what did they do?
Well, he and they always had Fern and orange groves.
Ferneries?
And orange groves.
Yes. And how long have you lived in Pierson?
since 1943.
Mm-hmm. And now but you came from Barberville.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. So you lived in this area all your life, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And how about you?
I've lived here 79 years.
79 years. This is home.
And then you went to land for a few years, weren't you?
No, just during the summer when I was going
Oh, I
to school.
see. Mhm.
And where did you go to school?
I went to school in Barberville, and then where the Pioneer Center is, that was the Central High School, and it was built, I believe, in about 1919, seems to me like. And I graduated from there, and then taught there.
You taught school
I
there?
went back. I went to FSCW, Florida
Yes.
State College for Women.
Yes.
And then after I got through, they wanted me to teach, so I taught.
How many years did you teach?
41 years.
41.
In
Oh,
Volusia County. Mhm.
that is a long, long time.
Mhm.
And where did you go to school, Mr. Pearson?
Well, I went to elementary school in Pierson, went to high school in DeLand.
Uh-huh.
And then when I finished high school, my father was quite ill and had a heart problem, and I had to take over the farm. And from that, of course, in 41, the war broke out, and I enlisted in 42, I guess, was in the reserve for a year or so, and then went to 43.
So what service were you in?
Air Force.
Air Force, uh-huh. Well, thinking about about school days, do you remember any close friends that you had that are still around now that people remember? Just name a few of your close friends that
Well,
was in school during the time
Anna
you were...
Swanson Esposito, but she's in Pennsylvania, so that wouldn't be nearby. Elizabeth Duff, or Elizabeth Harper Duff, went. You see, the Central High School then was there at the Pioneer Center. You know where they.
Yes.
And let's see, Ruby McCollum. She was part of the Clifton, what they call the Clifton settlement. They came from there.
Now, this Clifton settlement was, what is that, a group of people?
Well, it was just an area. It's
Out on Route 11.
But the people came from all the area at that time. That was the high school, see, and so they came from Pierson, and some came from Seville until they got their schools.
What about teachers? Do you remember any of your teachers back long ago?
Yes, but let's see. Durance, Mr. Durance, he was part of the Bishop family. I mean, his wife was part of the Bishop family.
Mattie
In-
Bishop.
In Eldridge. That's the area between.
Do you remember who the principal was back?
Well, when I was teaching, let's see, I guess maybe Mr. Wakefield.
Well, going back even further than that, when you were in school, who was your principal?
Right now.
It's been too long, hasn't it?
Well, it really hasn't, but right now I'm not, I just can't. I can't seem to, wait a minute now. Yes, I ought to remember the woman that didn't like you wearing lipstick. I remember, and I was, let me see, Miss Lennox, that's right, Miss Lennox. And she was from.
Do you remember any of your classmates?
Well, most of them are dead.
Some of the fellows that we
most
might,
of them, yes, but there's some still kicking around. Russell Harper and some, Russell older than I am, though.
Mm-hmm.
And Sidney Braddock and some of that bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the Braddocks from out in West Pierson.
Mm-hmm.
And Floyd Carlisle, but he's passed away now. So there was a lot of us around here. And my first principal was Earl Hamilton.
Hamilton?
Hamilton.
Yes.
And then there was E.L. Dowling. And that's two of the first I had.
Mm-hmm.
And of course then I eventually transferred to DeLand, and I had Captain Parrott. We used to call him Captain Parrott. It was E.O. Parrott or something like
Yes.
that.
I remember him myself. He was my principal at one time.
He was there a long time.
And a nice man, wasn't he? Mm-hmm.
And I left there at 36, got at DeLand.
Do you have any memories of school at DeLand or in Pierson that
Well,
that you
one
might
of my
want to tell
friends
about?
in DeLand was Jim Rhodey.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can't recall all of them right now. There's a lot of them there in DeLand. If I'd have known you were going to ask me that, I could have thought about it.
Right. Well, what about something that happened during the time you were in school? Do you remember a little story that you might want to tell or anything? Or
Well, not at this time.
did they have a football team?
Yes, we had a football team, but it was a rather primitive football at that time.
Different from now.
I think Ed Spring, I believe, was the coach of the football team.
You know, I recall him too, when he taught in elementary school. I remember him.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, the two schools, the high school was there on Clare Avenue, and then there was Boston Avenue,
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin
they called it
was
then,
right,
yes.
just joined up right back there.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they're pretty close.
Right.
You took agriculture, didn't the different people take agriculture?
Well, we took that up here
At
from
Central
J.C.
High
Brown. I had that before I went to DeLand.
John Smiley went there too, didn't he?
Not to DeLand.
I mean to Barberville.
Did you play on the football team?
No.
No. Different ones.
I had
like
to travel
different-
back and forth, and so I didn't have time to
It's not
stay
easy.
in practice.
No, it's not easy when you have
Yeah.
a distance. Uh-huh. Well, when you first came, well, you've always been here, but when you first came to Pierson, what was downtown like? Or back in your beginning days, what was downtown like in Pierson?
Well, it hasn't changed a lot. Since 26, there's a little town hall. We now have a new town hall. We bought the bank that moved out, and of course, one of the old stores, the old Gunner store, and Mid George had a store. Those are all gone. Anderson, ACM Anderson, then took over on the store business, and Johnson had a store.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they're dead now, and Anderson's store had been sold, and Johnson's store had been closed up for years, and then it burned.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, but I guess all in all, there's a lot of change here. If I had been gone away from here and then come back, you'd notice it.
But when you're here each day.
But when you're here all the time, like I've been, you don't notice the change too much.
Uh-huh. Do you remember any of the merchants or anything?
Well, ACM Anderson and Victor Johnson and Mrs. George and
About Smiley's.
Minshew, I believe it was Bryant Minshew, I think, had a store there. But that was years ago.
So now they have the banks and.
I remember when Old 17 was put through. We call it Old 17 now. It was we didn't have anything between here and DeLand but sand roads.
Is that right?
And I remember seeing the convicts that throwing up the grade, and if they hit a swamp or something had to go through, they had mules and wagons, and some teams with scoops on, but basically it was hauled on mules and wagons, and from a bar pit to the low ground, and then they'd turn the boards on the floor of the wagon to dump it off, but they'd shovel it on there with shovels. It was all hand labor.
Well, did the convicts do most of the?
That was chain gang days.
The chain gang did most
Lots
of the
them
work?
had a big old ball hanging to the leg, and the guard was carrying a big black snake whip.
And yet they still worked and got the job done, huh?
They got the job done, yeah.
Can you tell us about home life in the early years, Mrs. Pierson? What was home life like?
Well, I did know, first, before we got the Delco lights, I remember, Delco system, we, lamps. And I remember cleaning the lampshades and studying. I was kind of, but wasn't,
I was raised with oil lamps like we all were back in those days, and then we had put in a carbide system, gas lights.
Mm-hmm. Big improvement.
Had a generator that we, every so often we'd have to pump it out and change the water in it, and it would be a real white solution, all that carbide. But when you was using it, the gas, it called for gas for lights or something, there would somehow it would trip a weight or something in there, and then so much it'd fall into the water.
Yeah.
And that would generate, you can see it just bubbling, and it would generate the gas, and that'd keep your lights going. And so that was
a big improvement from the oil
this is
lamp.
a big improvement that we have now, yeah.
What, did you have oil lamps in each room, or?
Well, you carried one around where you used it when you went, from room to room, but of course the gas lights was in these fixtures here. And,
Was this your home back as a child?
No, I moved in this house, and my grandfather died when I was 10 years old. I was born just 1 mile west of here in another house about this size with 14 rooms in it.
So this has been home since you were 10 years old, was that?
Yes, I've lived in this one house since I was 10.
How wonderful. Oh, that's so nice. What about refrigeration and all? I can imagine that you had ice back years ago instead of refrigeration.
Well, ice was brought into Pierson after the Fern business started in 1904 by train from the land. And it would be shipped in big burlap bags around it. Of course, that was full of sawdust, and the ice was in the center of it. And everybody that was shipping Fern and had an ice box, a sawdust pile, where they packed their Fern, and they had their ice buried in this sawdust, which insulated and kept it from melting. And of course, we would go down there with ice pick and cut off a block of ice a certain size and bring it to the house, wash it off good, and put it up in the ice box. And you always put that was all in the top of the ice box because cold air settled, and the bottom is where you had your milk and your perishables. But we didn't think it was primitive.
No, you were just proud to have that ice.
We were used to it because we were making progress.
Right.
Going back to Barberville, Sunday school, everybody, I went to Sunday school, and then later I taught Sunday school, so that the Barberville Baptist Church. And my grandfather, great-grandfather, some of them anyway, gave money, gave land for the church.
Oh, nice.
But, I'm telling you that because, a lot of you centered around in a small town like that. And we lived near the railroad track, and I remember quite often the trains would stop, and they'd all and they'd be delayed, maybe there'd be a hot box or something, and we'd sell oranges to them. Wanted to. I can think about that so much. But I was, busy. It wasn't a lot of. It was, I guess, happy enough life. See, we were 7 children that grew up to, be grown. So there was quite a family.
What size church was this back years ago when it was?
Well, it's about like it is today, the Barberville Baptist Church. And then there was.
But for members, about how many members long ago, and now about how many members?
Well, I imagine about the same.
About the same.
I don't think it hadn't grown much.
What about neighbors in Pierson? Did you have close neighbors, or were they far and few between?
Well, this street had neighbors and people on it. This is one of the main streets in town, and Hagstroms lived right over there, the southwest, and Carl Hagstrom lived right across the street, just west of us. And so we had neighbors here. And Peter, my grandfather's brother, he had got a, well, I guess Peter gave him land just west of us, 1,320 feet, a quarter of a mile. Gave him 10 acres down there, and he down here in Connecticut, and he even had a house built. And so he was neighbor on the west, and so, I mean the east.
So there was close neighbors.
But now, when they first came here, there wasn't. Neighbors were pretty few and far between,
Oh,
probably
is that right?
quite a few miles.
The Indians, you said, were here.
Well, there were still some Indians scattered around when they got here, but they were not hostile.
Right. What about family routines? Back years ago, we didn't have washing machines. So what was wash day like?
That was a big deal. We usually had somebody, someone to help. And I can see those sheets, you know, you have as many beds as we needed.
With 7 children?
A lot of sheets on the line, and I
Right.
can see those sheets now.
Blowing in the wind.
And of course, if we wanted anything, we went to the store and got it, because it was just, how far is it from the store?
To your house you were at?
Yeah, about
Probably 100 yards,
100 yards or something like that.
maybe a little over.
Did they boil the clothes, or how did they clean
Yeah,
them?
they had a wash pot.
Wash pot,
Wash pot.
Boil them and poke them with a
Poked
stick.
right with
Yeah,
a stick,
right.
right?
And then you had the big tin tubs and washed them. I remember they always, you rinsed them twice. I don't think this is important, but you did,
Right.
you know.
That was very
and
important.
then,
What about water? Did you have to carry your water, or did you have a pump, or
We
what?
had a pump.
Had a well right close to it.
pump or a well.
So you carried your water. I bet the boys had
You
jobs
dumped it out
to
of the
do.
ground, and you had a curb well, and you drew it out of the ground with a bucket.
Oh, my.
One thing I remember about the boys' work they did was cutting, cord of woods, you know, getting because you did your
That's what we heated.
fireplace, see,
Fire
that
and
was where
everything.
everything was fireplace. And I can remember, that was one of the big deals, was getting cord of wood so you'd have plenty of wood for the...
They cut it and stacked it up and
Yes,
ready for winter,
yes.
huh?
But
Well, getting back to this well, the water didn't have all the chemicals in it that it does today. What was your thinking of what it tastes like? Was it lots better?
Excellent.
Or? Excellent.
Excellent.
I can imagine.
It's so cool it almost hurts your teeth.
Is that right? Cold and
Nice and cool.
clear? No.
Oh, no,
no
just as clear as it could be. Just as clear, and tasted fresh and good.
Oh, Well, I'm sure it was better for us than some of the water with all the chemicals
I
today.
think so too.
Did your family make soap?
yes, I can remember they're making soap, and you had to have a lot of grease or fat.
Yeah.
And then,
But potash with it, lye
that's right, and,
soap.
yep, they sure did.
What about ironing?
And
Did you have to heat your iron some way?
Yeah,
or-
we first had, you know, just those iron,
They call them a sad iron.
you know, those,
You know,
you know.
the word and the meaning of that. Sad iron.
What is that?
That's those big old heavy iron, and you're sad if you had the iron.
Oh, I see, okay, okay. Well, now, were these heated in a fireplace or
On a
how-
stove,
on the
or
stove.
in the
stove.
fireplace, anyway.
A wood stove, or, you know, where you had,
And then I can remember, my mother got very modern, and she bought a gasoline iron. Now, that was a dangerous thing, but she would use it. Had a little tank about the size of your fist on that, and had a generator. Put
Right,
them down in there,
right.
and you'd pump that little pump, you know, you loosen up the valve and then pump that thing up. Close it off, light that generator, the gas under the generator, and heat it.
Well, that was a big improvement.
And then
for
you'd
them.
open it up, and that thing would you could hear it kind of burning in there. And it'd heat up, and she could go to ironing.
And didn't have to stop each time and
Somebody
warm
out
up warm up the iron.
hello? Probably calling.
Probably somebody out there.
Well, what about some of the recipes of long ago? Do you have any favorite recipe you want to tell that you had from long ago, or something you like to cook? Or something like that?
Your venison stew is.
Well, that's not one. That's a recipe got out in Wyoming.
Yeah, well.
Does your husband like to hunt? Do you like to hunt? Do you?
I used to, but I can't anymore.
Uh-huh.
Too much rheumatism.
Well, you're a pretty good hunter.
I used to. a
Uh-huh.
lot.
But one thing, I think about our meals. There was always somebody else there. I mean, at my place, because with the store and everything, if somebody had food, we never knew who Dad might be bringing to dinner.
It was just always a friendly atmosphere, and they were welcome.
It was, right.
Well, I know they enjoyed that.
I think about baked chicken and dressing. My mother's dressing. We're trying to, and sweet potato.
Sounds good.
Sweet potato pone was mighty good.
Uh-huh.
And so, but I mean, there's your truck, Russell.
They probably checking on some fern and just killing a little time riding around.
What about plants? Did you have any special plants around your house, or? Of course, I know you had lots of fern, but I mean, just house plants. Did you have many house plants? Not too many?
Not particularly, no. And we didn't have a lot of house plants. We always had an orange grove.
Well, what about in your childhood days? How did the little girls dress? What was their dresses like?
Well, I just
Did they wear like little sailor collars?
Well, yes, that's
what
good.
do they call that?
Uh,
Mini blouse, isn't it?
Oh, I know what you're talking about, the mini blouse, yes.
Uh-huh.
See, it's so much better. I've got pictures of all these things, but I don't, from just memory. When I have one of those heart attacks like I had, I'm not very sharp the next day, and I'm not very sharp today. He's a better.
What about the little boys? What did they wear years ago? What type of trousers?
Overalls most of the time.
Overalls,
Yeah, I used to wear overalls as a little boy.
Uh-huh.
Had a little corduroy suit that I'd wear for vest and
And for warmth?
yeah,
In the wintertime?
yeah.
What about
Button shoes.
Button shoes, uh-huh. How many buttons? A lot of buttons or just a few
A lot
buttons?
of
or
buttons
what?
coming out the side of them on each side.
Uh-huh. Were they hard to fasten?
Well, it wasn't too easy with little fingers, but my
I can
mama
imagine.
and daddy wanted to help me.
Uh-huh. And you wore socks with them then?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. What about chores that you had to do when you were a little boy? When you came home from school?
Main thing was to bring in wood in wintertime.
Right.
Then we had cattle and hogs and stuff of that nature, and having to feed and put in bedding and stuff at night.
Did y'all have parties back years ago? Or?
Yes, they used to have parties and socials. They'd have at the gathering places in the churches, ice cream socials and stuff of that nature.
Homemade ice cream, huh?
Yeah.
With the churn, that you
by hand.
hand churn, right?
Yeah.
What about health remedies? Do you remember any old health remedies?
Well, not really, I guess. My mother was a was a nurse, so we got by pretty good. We had doctors when I was a boy that would make house calls from the land, Dr. Taylor and Dr. West, Dr. Tribble, and different ones like that. And you could call one and he'd come all the way up here and take care of you, and when he'd leave, pay him $10, that was it.
Dollars took care of everything, all that distance and
Yeah.
everything. Well, where did you meet your wife? Where'd you?
Well, I had my eye on her a long time.
Well, I know she was pretty back then because she's
well,
pretty now. So
naturally, she was 4 or 5 miles down the road, and I had met her many, many times.
Uh-huh.
So we just got to going together in about 1936, 37, wasn't it?
Probably so.
Something like that. And then we got married in 43.
Where did you get married? Here in Pierson or
No,
That's-
got married in Benel.
in Benel?
That's a long story. In 4 days, he was going into service.
Uh-huh.
That's the longest and interesting story. So, my sister-in-law and then said, you told Russell he better come down there. And anyway, we came and got his mother and went to, he was a friend of the family's. And that's,
County judge over there,
Yeah.
a friend of my mother's. So we called him.
but my mother was not too happy. So we might say at that tender age, I still kind of ran away from home to get married.
Well, it certainly seemed like it worked out good. You're mighty happy, and that's what counts,
We
isn't it?
stayed together.
Did you have a large wedding or a small wedding?
No,
Yes.
you don't in a,
No,
You
just-
don't in the courthouse.
Right.
that's right.
Do you remember what price the marriage license were back
What-
then?
I don't
$250, I
partic-
believe.
I don't particularly care about all that, you know.
Well, it sounds interesting, and it sounds nice.
I could,
Did you have a car back then?
oh my
She had a
God.
car.
Or
and I
a horse
had
and
a car.
buggy, or what?
No, back then, I was in the 40s, we had automobiles.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, see, that's not long.
I had a car, she had a car.
Before that, did you have a horse and buggy, or did,
Well, I can remember horses and buggies, but my father always had a car almost. I don't know just
He had a
when
lot
the
of
Model
mules.
Ts come out, in 1916 or 17,
I'm
something
not
like
sure
that. And
on
I was
that.
born, of course, in 16, and
so you always remember cars?
I always remember the old Model Ts.
Did you have children? How many children?
2 daughters.
2 daughters. And do they live around here, or?
The oldest one is Pamela Ann. She lives in DeLand, and she married Rick Rentz. He's with Dean Witter.
Yes.
She does a
And,
lot of work at the Cultural Arts.
She has 2 children, Pearson Rentz and Sarah Rentz. And Sarah's 21, I believe it is. She's is a senior in college or junior?
University of Miami,
Miami.
she's now picked her, she's got Associate of Arts degree or Associate of some kind of degree, but then she's now working at University of Miami on
Pearson
occupational therapy. That's what she's going to do.
Pearson is a senior in Atlanta High School.
Uh-huh. So you have how many grandchildren? 2
Yeah.
daughters and how many
Yeah.
grandchildren?
Well, we have 4. Bonnie married Richard Stam, and they live in DeLeon Springs, and Bonnie teaches school up here, and Richard works in Daytona.
Uh-huh.
And she has 2 boys, Russell and Andrew. Andrew is in the 9th grade, I guess, and Russell is in 2nd year college.
Well, you have a nice family. That sounds nice. What do y'all remember about a Christmas long time ago? Long, long ago. Did you have a Christmas tree?
Always. Mhm.
Yeah.
Always a Christmas tree.
Christmas tree.
Did you hang up stockings?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Did you get presents? Or some people we've talked with said they only got candy or apples or fruit. Did you get presents, or did you get?
Well, I wouldn't say we got too many presents. And I can remember how they would play jokes on members of the family, and in their stocking or something they'd put, you know, I don't know. I can remember somebody putting an onion in your stocking.
Just kind of playing a joke. That was cute. Yes, it is.
Uh-huh.
Well, you were saying that you used to be a hunter years ago. What were the woods like up in Pierson? Can you sort of describe them?
we had a lot of quail back in those days.
My dad was a great
They were
hunter.
thin enough that we had quail
Uh-huh.
because the woods burned back then. If you're going to have good quail hunting, you got to burn the woods about every 3rd year.
Oh, uh-huh.
You'll have quail feed, and that's what it is. The woods get so thick that the quail can't survive in there because there's no feed for them. It's just so thick, and partridge peas and the little legumes and stuff that grow wild and furnish feed for the quail just cannot survive.
Uh-huh.
But then I shifted over to deer hunting, and I deer hunted for years and had dogs and stuff. And then I went out in Colorado several times hunting in the Rocky Mountains. But that's
Sounds like you're a real hunter.
that's a rough young man's deal, and age took care of that.
Right.
Some of the Pearsons
But it
lived
certainly
out
is
there,
beautiful
so-
out there.
I can imagine.
People don't believe it, but you got wild turkey in Colorado, and you got, of course, mule deer and elk, and I never will forget one evening in there, saw a flock of turkeys up on top of the ridgeback, and
Oh, it was nice.
really beautiful.
Were you able to bring back some of the meat from out there to?
Bring back, well, we can bring back venison and bring elk back,
Uh-huh.
very much like beef.
I know you enjoyed that. Do you remember the Depression days,
Very much.
back when the banks closed? Could you tell us something about that?
I had a brother when the bank closed. He lost, I remember, I think his great-grandmother gave him some money, and he lost that, and that was such a blow, my goodness.
It was a terrible,
It's the worst
terrible thing. It really was.
And of course, I was in college, and so was my brother Marion. In college, you might say, I started in 1920. I graduated in 1932, so I started about 28 or FSCW, and then came right. And you asked me something. What did you say?
Talking about the Depression, the banks
Yes, and
closing
I
down.
remember it was. But
That was
What do you remember about it?
well, I remember the
Didn't
banks
buy
closing and taking all their money. And we just never did miss any meal, but sometimes the meal didn't have exactly what we wanted.
Right, it was hard times for
And
lots of
Sugar
people.
was
hard,
scarce.
hard times.
Sugar was scarce. I remember very scarce. Seemed to me like it.
Well, could you sort of tell us about how the town was started here in Pierson, and like something about the beginning, going back, thinking
Well,
about some.
The 5 Piersons came here. There was 3 brothers, Peter, Nelson, Carl, and 2 cousins, Nelzell and Tui. And they all homesteaded where they touched. The homesteads touched on the corner or somewhere along the line.
Mm-hmm.
So that all of it was joined together. And Peter got a job down at Enterprise with Mr. Stark in there at Orange Grove, the nursery. And he would walk from here, and he built a log, well, by the way, I got ahead of myself. He built a log cabin down here on Lake Alice, which I still have no land on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would walk to Volusia and catch a Clyde Line boat to Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
And go down there on Sunday afternoon, and then work all week. And he'd usually leave there Friday at noon or sometime thereabouts, and get back up this way.
And I leave. And I leave, and you just go on with
Yeah,
him.
let's just cut it.
Huh?
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then he would shop at Volusia.
You got done?
Is it still going?
Yep.
He'd shop at Volusia and put his groceries and stuff on his back and a corn sack and walk back here to Pierson. And then he would, on the weekends, clear land. And this is some of the land that we're sitting on.
Is that right?
Because they had no equipment, they had no bulldozers, and I don't know whether at that time he might have had a horse. But all of this land that's right in this area that we've got in here was cleared by a grubbing hoe and an axe and a shovel and fire.
Oh, lots of hard
That
work.
was it.
Lots of hard work.
He said, I've heard him say that at night he would get out there and dig around about 4 or 5 lighted stumps, which is pine stumps. You know, they burn good.
Mm-hmm.
And get a fire started around each one of them, and then he could see. And then he'd grub out that area in between them
Well, I
and
just,
pile it and burn it. See, when it dried, he could burn it or burn some of it along on the stumps.
I can imagine the hard work and
And so it took a lot of fortitude to
really did.
start and come to a new country like this area down here. But anyway, they survived, and that was the way it was. The railroad came through here then in 18, I believe the date on that I run down one time was November the 22nd, 1885.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the JT and KW, and that stands for Jacksonville, Tampa, and Key West.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the town got its name, of course, when the first train come through, why, everybody, they knew when it was coming, but everybody knew, went to where the train would up to the town there. So they were all standing there, and the train come in, and it stopped, and conductor stepped out and said, well, what are we going to call this little stop or village? Nobody said anything, and then nobody knew.
Mm-hmm.
So he asked, what if, I don't know what his name is, Peter Pierson. What's your name? Nels Pierson, and Tui Pierson, Nelzell Pierson. So he just said, well, we're gonna call it Piersonville.
Also,
He stepped back on the train and told the engineer to go ahead.
well, that's quite an honor.
And that's the way it got started. Well,
That-
Piersonville stayed with it. I had a picture, and I don't know what become of it. Well, the first depot had Piersonville on the end of it, but I don't know. But anyway, that lasted a few years, and they just cut the Ville off and just called it
Oh,
Pierson.
Pierson. Well, that is so interesting. I've never heard that. I just,
Well, that's the way it got started.
that is so interesting. Well, how did you tell us about the fernery business. It started back with your father,
Well, it
right?
started back in Plumosa's days, back in 1904. All we had was oranges and the row crop. The orange group, let me go back just a little bit and tell you a little something. The original orange grove that he had here that he put out shortly, I guess, after soon he got some land cleared here. The main part was between this house and where the barn is down there.
Mhm.
Those trees were always planted about 50 to 60 feet apart. And the reason for that was they had to conserve land, the fact that planted so far apart, they could farm in between them. Because that way they would farm and growing corn, beans, whatever they needed to, garden stuff, something to eat. And working that land, well, that worked the orange trees too. And the way they fertilized them, of course, the animals, the cattle was running wild in here then, and had open range. Anybody that had cows could run them on the range. So if you owned something, you had to fence it. Well, they would fence their land up to keep the cattle and stuff from eating it up, but also they got their row crops out, you might say. They would fence the cattle in, some cattle, as many as they wanted, because of the fertilizer that they were leaving in the ground. So it served a purpose too. And so that went on until the fern business come in, and that was in 1904. My father used to work in Eugene, worked up in the greenhouses in Connecticut with the other Pierson branch of the family, A.N. And they had big greenhouse places, roses and everything up there, and ornamental nurseries. So Uncle Andrew told Eugene one time, he said, Eugene, I believe that this plumosis that we're growing here in these greenhouses, all this heat and stuff having to put on it in the wintertime, will grow in Florida under shade. So he said, when you go home, you and Peter see what you can do about getting a place ready and let's try some of it. So they fixed up about a little quarter-acre patch. They built a shed. I've got a picture of the first shed someplace and where it is right now. But it was about 18, 20 feet high. And they planted it and it grew, but they had it on the muck. Well, every time in October usually, or the end of October, 1st of November, it freezes out. Because all the cold goes to the low spots. So they kept it there for about 2 years. And about 1906, they moved it right up here on the hill, right up here back to this house, where this house is. And that is where the plumosis business started. And I contend that if we hadn't had the plumosis business here, we wouldn't have the leather leaf business, or we wouldn't have the greens business, or anything else in that nature here. That was
Pierson would not have been what it is today.
That's what started it.
So you certainly owe it to your dad.
Today, the greens business and plumosis is doing real well, still selling good, because coming back, in fact. And leather leaf and tree fern and all of our other mixed greens, it's I don't know how many $100 million it brings into Volusia County and the state of Florida, and not only here in Lake County and all around the Putnam County. There's a lot of money comes into this state because of the fern business. We still call it the fern business.
So a lot of families really owe it to your dad for bringing that here, and
well,
when you look around,
that's where it started.
That's wonderful.
Wonderful.
Well, what do you have to have a small fernery? I mean, just a small fernery, does it take about what amount of workers?
It takes about $100,000 to get started in it.
Oh, is that right? But then
No, in a big way.
For about a five acre fernery, you got about $20,000 an acre in it. If you have to buy your land, you have, because if you say you buy your land, you clear it, you put a shed on it, all this ironwork and all this plastic covering, and a minimum of $25,000 in a well and pump, minimum.
Well, do you plant little plants, or do you plant seed, or what do you do?
We plant plants on leatherleaf and, plants on plumosa and everything else. We use plants.
Uh-huh.
And it rejuvenates itself every year. It's a potential for annual crop.
So it takes quite a few men to work a fernery, doesn't it? I mean, just
Perennial, I mean.
it takes quite a few people to.
Well, you've got a lot of labor going.
Uh-huh.
Weeding is one of our big problems. Of course, now we're using a lot of herbicides, which helps us. Because weeding has got to where it was completely out of hand on charges.
But to start with, the seeds came from Italy, didn't they?
Yeah.
So, and then this greenhouse, one of his great grandfather's brother was a big florist in Cromwell, Connecticut, and they were the ones, that sent it.
And these ferns from right here in Pierson are shipped all over the world, aren't they?
Yes.
Just all over the
Yes.
Of
world.
course, now a lot of people have gone to Costa Rica, and a lot of people in Pierson.
What do you think about growing it in South America, or do you think it grows better here, or what?
I don't know because I've not been down there where they're growing it. But I think they probably, what I've heard, grow good stuff. And of course, they're doing it with a lot cheaper labor than we are.
But sometimes it's better to be at home, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you think of any other stories you might like to tell about the fern business? Anything that needs to be recorded that we need to know years from now?
Well, offhand, I can't, not at this very moment.
You were saying that you were in service, and where did you go overseas, or were you here in?
No, I never did get overseas. I went in the Air Force, and then I got shipped out to the 9th Service Command, and that's in California. And I hurt my right leg there, and had it operated on, and then I was in pilot school for a while, and I ended up they injured some nerves in his leg when they operated on it, and I couldn't stand to keep any pressure on it.
Right.
So I had to give up on flying, and they sent me to school, and I went to radio school and made the mistake about making too good of grades, and they made an instructor out of me.
Oh, well, very nice.
So I finished up in Truax Field in Scottsfield, Illinois.
Tell us about the food rationing, about during the war. Do you remember any stories about during the war, about the rationing of food or
Sugar,
and
tires, automobile tires.
A little story I could tell you about the sugar business, I think, was my dad, had a store, and it was really a country store. I mean, 2-story building. It burned sometime later, but people would, they used sugar in making booze or whiskey or whatever they did. What would you call it?
Whiskey.
Yeah.
Whiskey.
And so people would come, to buy sugar. Well, you couldn't exactly question what they were getting it for, but I can remember that a lot of it was that. But it seemed to me, and I guess that as kids having a country store, I can remember my mother saying, "One of you kids go down to the store and see what your daddy's got to boil for dinner."
just go in and get it fresh.
Yes, and
That was
so
nice.
what I'm thinking is that we didn't seem to notice it much because it seemed like that with the store, and we
You had your
didn't
food
exactly
right.
have to keep a record of it.
Right.
We'd go. So that's just a little.
I still think that
funny
there's
thing that
Right.
a law on the
Exactly
books
right.
that I don't know just how much it is, but if you purchase sugar in large quantities, you're reported to the government because of whiskey. I don't know just what the amount is, but I know that used to be true. I don't know if they still enforce it. I think the law's still there. They don't know whether they enforce
Probably
it.
when it was rationed, it was.
Yeah,
for sure
well, there
had to
we
be
are.
done. Right. Well, do you remember anything where you were at Pearl Harbor Day? I think everybody
I
remembers.
sure do.
Where
I
were
was
you?
fishing down here on Lake George. It was on Sunday.
Uh-huh.
And I was with a very dear friend of mine, Roy Lindstrom, who died since then. And he and I came in, and that's before there was anybody on the river much, and we were one of the few people that had a boat and motor. And we was at Burnett's camp. That's where we'd gone in from. And we'd gone from there to Lake George, and we'd had some bass with us. And when we come in up the river, Burnett was sitting out on the dock, the man that run it, and there was nobody else fishing. And we pulled up there to the dock, and we knew him real well, and his face was just kind of ashy and gray or something. And looked at him and said, what's wrong with you, Mr. Burnett? He said, well, those Japs had just bombed hell out of Pearl Harbor. And we run to the car and turn the radio on and stuff, and we coming home and listened to it. And it was really had torn it all to pieces.
Well, it certainly was a sad
And
time for
that was a
everybody.
long time after that before we got straightened out.
Right,
Took a long time.
that's right. What change in Pierson made a big impression on you?
Oh, Lord, I don't know.
What change? Can you think of something a big change in Pierson that made an impression on you?
And they stopped
sure.
shipping Fern by.
Hmm.
You used to always ship your Fern by express, and then later.
Well, I really hated to see the express company go out of business when we went truck line because we're getting this actually better service. The express line had got to where they wasn't giving us good service because the labor unions had them so messed up they wasn't delivering stuff on time.
Well,
But now we never hear of anything going in bad.
Do you remember any special event in Pierson or that stands out in your mind? Something special that happened in Pierson, or some celebration in Pierson, or something?
I can't think of it right now.
Or
I know there
dedication of
has been
something in Pierson or anything?
several things happened, but
Well, thinking back from you were here a long time, was one of the greatest improvements? What's improved the most in Pierson?
getting our streets done,
Getting the streets.
way paved. No.
What were they before? Just
Well, we had shell in the
Shell.
ruts and stuff, and they were rutted roads. Some of them were still rutted roads and sand roads, and you didn't negotiate them too much in dry weather.
Before we close, I wanted you to tell your dad's full name and maybe something about your family, since you certainly have been an asset to Pierson. Tell us about your dad's name and your brothers, and something about your immediate family, because that's something that should be remembered.
Well, I only have one sister. That's all I had, and she passed away in '73, I believe it was. And my father's name was Eugene Pierson. My mother's name was she was Ursula Strockman, and she married Eugene, my father. And they always seemed to get along real well. I can always remember that. And they used to work together. We all worked in the furnace when I was young, a kid. And now it's all hired help. But back years ago, before we had so much TV in the cars and everybody where you're going so much, people visited and talked and visited a whole lot more.
And that was nice.
And were more concerned about their neighbors than they are today. And that was a real, real good thing.
Yes, it is. People really cared. People care now, but they just don't have time, it
Used
seems.
to be but now people don't visit, and they're not too concerned about you. One note I'd like to give on our Lutheran church up here. I've never been anything but a Lutheran in this church, and my Sunday school when I was a little kid. When I started going to that church, they had, I guess it was a 9 o'clock service, or 10 o'clock until 11, and then 11 o'clock until 12. The 10 o'clock to 11 was Swedish. They had a Swedish service there, and then the other one was English.
Well,
Same sermon in English.
very interesting.
It was, used to be known as the Swedish community. When you turn this off, I'll tell you a story.
Would you like to show us around outside any of where the first Fern
I can take you in my pickup and show you, yes, ma'am.
I thought you might like to see, you were asking how they dress. Now, that's Russell.
Oh,
and
yes,
his-
that's nice.
Russell and his sister.
Very nice. Can you see that, Charles? That is cute as it can be. I love those pictures like that. I think they're so nice.
Yeah.
And this is Russell and Mr. Pierson and his sister.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
and his sister, yes.
Very nice.
I would sort of like for you just take a quick look around and see, to tell the story and just see the pictures like I was telling him
We
about.
would like to.
That I think maybe you'd get a better idea of past and present, you know what I mean?
Well, I want to thank you very much for taking your time, and when we finish, we will go around and let him take a few pictures, and maybe you can tell a few things about
Well,
it. And
yeah.
I'm Betty Van
I
Allen.
thought-
Thank you so much.
That's your picture.
See, this makes it so much more interesting.
You don't see many, they've been torn down.
Right.
Look towards a lot of them they made in the rest of it. This is Fern right here. But it's a slack shed back in those days. I plant trees. I'm going to plant trees.
And when you were a little boy, you probably played out there many a time.
I worked out there too.
Worked it right.
I was taught to work. You know what that's for? It's cleaning fences. That's nice crop. Most in there.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Awful young.
Beginning with the fern
Yeah, he had a log cabin down in another piece of land on that other point. See those leaves how they look so ragged, rolled up? That's the effect of that leaf miner. But I think we're going to be able to move. And then they put all the good leaves and then they don't get hard enough before the leaf miner can lay an egg on it.
How long before you'll have fruit?
I'll have good in there next year, but not much. Well, I have no much. That's where the first plumosa was planted. And I particularly don't let it grow up like everything else does. I keep it mowed because I like to preserve that. I still think that there should be a historical site or something for this farmstead right here, this homestead, because this is where the farmstead started. It's been sold. Back in 1976, I think it was, Lord Connor decided that somebody sent Sydney to me, and I talked to them first.
It's a beautiful area. Beautiful out here in the lake and all. Do you ever go out there on it? Does it have fish in it?
Well, it went dry, back then, right time, but it's doing better. Full of bluegills.
Do they live close by, right on the property?
No, we live in Crescent City. Isn't that pretty property now?
It's a beautiful crop. It is. The different shades of green are so pretty.
That dark shade of green is what we cook.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know. See, I really don't know that much about Fern. Now, will those lighter ones turn dark later?
That's what we call mature.
I didn't dread it when there's a big storm coming.
I don't like it. We get in here, we're moving and everything.
many times a year do you cut?
Constantly.
Oh, you cut constantly.
Actually, I cut this one in 2-3 months, then cut. I sell it the way next one. There's so much stuff down there. And
Well, how big a piece of property is this out here? You know, you don't realize how big it is till you start driving through. It's amazing.
There's a pump well.
Even 400 feet deep.
Big vertical pump on it.
We have got turbine in there.
Yeah.
Decent engine.
This is a beautiful drive.
It's pretty deep right there.
Oh, it's nice. It is. It's beautiful. This is the first time I've ever been in a Fern.
Is that right?
So this,
Really?
I'll always remember this.
This is a very special occasion.
Very special for us.
That's where my father's sister used to live. Peter owned all this county back then. Them 28 out there. And right here is where Peter's brother lived, Agnes. Out there. This my father owned. We sold when he did years ago. 28 ones ago, during the depression, we couldn't even get one. So it's 28 ones for $4,000. $900 back then. I guess it wasn't that easy.
Do people ever come out at night and steal Fern from you? Or?
I know, you know, people say, oh, they lost Fern at night. I never. I've been messing around and running around the place. I take the flashlight, watch the Fern and take the flashlight around the cut a bunch of Fern and go out and it looks like a hell. I never did. Any stealing goes on in the daytime.
No, I see.
Now, once you cut it, that's got the bleeding, you know. This is tree fern, see the difference?
Yes.
This was mowed. I mowed this about a month ago.
And you ship this kind too?
Oh, yeah. It really didn't come that thick, did it?
There's a lot out there.
This used to all be orange grove in here.
Oh, that'd make a beautiful, a lot of flower arrangements, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Lots of No, I'm really appreciating Pierson even more just after talking with you today.
Well, that's a nice one.
It is nice.
But I'm going to tell you, set that camera down. Pierson used to be a Swedish community, and it was for years. Real nice community. Well, the Georgia crackers over there, they're real. Moved away from the Swedes. Now, see, now the Mexicans moved in and take away from the Georgia crackers.
Yeah, right.
Out in here, we can figure it out, clean it up quick. It'll be like
That archway, has that been there for many years? Or did
that.
You...
Yes, I can't even remember that. We had this boy in there doing the painting, cleaning it up, and had it painted the deck. And he got a washer, and he come in here and he washed everything, and he washed the sidewalk and cleaned it up. He cleaned up the archway. I didn't want it done. You know, that moss and stuff on it.
Right.